Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Enchanted Chatter. We've got tons of fun faces on today. We're super excited. So we have Amanda, who was one of the top 8 for the Lorcana Ladies Championship at CCS this past weekend. And we have Alyx the Queer from Rotten to the Lore.
Welcome back.
And as always, we have Bri.
Hello, I'm alive.
Which we're very happy about.
Yeah.
So today we wanted to start off. So Alyx, initially we were going to start off with Rotten to the Lore stuff. Mm-hmm. But do you mind if we touch on CCS first?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Awesome. So I'm super excited to talk about the Lorcana Ladies Championship. This was the first time that CCS did a women's challenge. So I was super excited to see that. I know that there was a lot of talk beforehand about it kind of overlapping with the larger event. But I think the turnout ended up being really great, and it sounds like it was a good time. I know Amanda and I were talking a little before we went live. But first and foremost, Amanda, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your Lorcana journey?
Yeah, of course. So, hi, my name's Amanda Payne Anderson. I've been playing Lorcana since it first came out. That's actually how my fiance and I got together, was Lorcana. So it's very special. We're from Murphy, North Carolina. So up here in the mountains, we kind of hide. But I've been playing Lorcana. I've always been on the aggro variant, but I did try and attempt Blue Steel for a hot minute. That was the wrong choice. I should have never done that. So
I think we've all felt that way, trying new decks.
Yeah, I definitely have had those moments where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to Steel Song now. And this weekend, you played Churnadog, right?
Yes, I sure did. And I have a love for Churnadog. Lady and the Tramp is my favorite Disney movie. So, of course, when I saw those cards start to come out, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to make it work. Then with the new set, I saw the new lady cards. I'm like, these are dangerous, especially if you add Cricky with the lady.
It's a great movie that got great cards, and it's just like,
yeah.
I need it. Yeah, the dogs are clearly just here to be on brand. We're just trying to be on brand with the Churnadog deck.
Yeah,
I love that you're just like, my dog.
He's conked out in the chair next to me, and he is comfortable. He is in his element. He gets to be alone with mommy.
Yeah, no crazy Stella to.
Yeah, he says, I get to snooze.
So. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
You're good. I saw a Lorcana love story. That's so sweet.
Yes, we love a good Lorcana love story. We have some friends that also met that way and are now engaged. So we love hearing that. So you
finished out of the country.
Yeah, they currently are. They're being really cool and in Tokyo and are going to go to Disney there, which I'm a little jealous about.
I'm super jealous. I definitely made it very clear to them. Like, I love you and I'm really happy for you, but also I hate you.
What do you think about the event this weekend made it so special and like made you enjoy it as much as you did?
So I'll have to say it was a chance, honestly, that I got to prove myself to be just as good as my guy friends. I know that sounds crazy, but they all play so well. Like, I know I'm going to brag on my team here for a bit. We call ourselves the delinquents, and hence the ink part.
I love that. That's such a good name.
Isn't it cute? They did so good.
I love it.
Yeah, my friend Chase came up with him. He's our little 21-year-old. So we're like, okay, yeah, that's pretty awesome. So
leave it to the
but,
youth to come up with the good names.
yes. And it was one of those where we started off with like 3 people and we grew to 20, but there's only like 3 or 4 women in our group. So it was one of those events that I was like, you know what? I want to go and actually see what can I do. I want to meet these remarkable women that have the same story, essentially, and even if it's different, like I just want to get to know these people. Like I got to play someone's mom. She said my very first round, her husband had passed away, so her son got her into Lorcana. So it was a game they actually got to start playing together.
Oh, I love that. That's such a great story.
It was so sweet.
Yeah. Right now.
And I know I was already teary-eyed because, like, personally, I am going through stage 2 stomach cancer. So I'm going through chemo and all that fun stuff. And Lorcana is a way just to escape. And it was so nice to just get to meet all these beautiful, remarkable people. Like I met Miss Alyx. She's actually the one who invited me to Love to Lore, and just phenomenal. It was absolutely just amazing meeting everyone and getting to actually show I'm a pretty good player. So I was like, yeah, I can do that.
Well, I love that. I love hearing that. And I agree. I know that Lorcana is it's such a great community. And I think that one of these, an event like this really showcases the ability to be more than just a card game. It is a way for us to connect with other people that are like us. And I think to have kind of an added layer of a space that makes people feel safe and invited and wanting to play the game is always awesome. So it's really cool to see that. Do we want to show your deck on stream now and talk about it a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely.
So give me 1 second. We'll make this a little bit bigger. So I love this build. This build looks awesome. I love the 3 big Chernobogs. I want to call it Chernodog so bad. Did you find that you were playing that a lot in like every game, or were you because with a 3 count, like I feel like that's coming out pretty frequently?
So I will say it comes in handy with Amber Steel. Oh my goodness, it is beautiful against any Steel player. I love to see Chernobog, but I'll have to admit, when I played in my top 8 match, which was against Miss Kirsten, she played red-blue. Chernobog was the last card I wanted to see, and I found all 3 in my opening hand. So it was pretty crazy. But I will say against the Amber Steel match, which I played, I actually wrote it down. Let's see.
Yeah, Amanda, before we started, she showed me this like amazing sheet of notes that she took so she didn't forget anything to talk about on stream today. And I was like, this is so great. I love the commitment.
I actually played against 4 different Amber Steel decks, and which, like I said, Chernobog was amazing, and Cricky and Lady are another good combo, especially in that matchup. But I will say the one, especially with Miss Alyx, because she did Emerald Amethyst, which was, of course, the birds. I just had to go fast because the moment she pulled out that pull the lever, I was like, what even is this card? And because she got the combo of pull the lever and wrong lever. So I'd never seen that combo actually happen so well. So like her just ripping my cards out, I was like, what is happening? So But yeah, I will say Chernobog is a big help with still play. Like if you're playing against still and you have Chernobog, that's very beneficial.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. When you're playing this deck, what I know I saw this in question come in the chat. What do you look for in your opening hand as like your perfect opening hand when you don't know what you're playing against yet?
So my perfect opening hand is, it's actually going to be Lady, Decisive Dog, which of course, you know, is the one where it gives the character 3 attack or more where you can lure for 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I want that. And I want Tramp, the enterprising dog. And I want some type of other one drop, like Daisy is perfection. But I'm okay with another lady, like Lady's okay. And then Piglet and Ursula. I use just because I know that we're in a heavy Amber Still match and we have those songs coming through. I want to try and get Ursula out. In a perfect world, you can play Ursula turn 2, rip a song, and then on turn 3, you have your lady who's a family dog, where you play that, then play another Ursula for free. And then you can just rip their other song out of their hand.
You know, I'm just gonna have to say that's rude. As a Steel Song player, I do not want to see that in your hand. I would be so sad
Yeah,
for
that
that
would,
to happen to me, which is why I'm like, oh yeah, that does sound perfect, and I hate it.
yeah, that would feel pretty garbage.
I feel so bad sometimes, but at the same time, I'm like, that was hot. I'm like, that was really good. Especially if it's like a grab your, like I've seen grab your sword, strength, especially a whole new world, but a whole new world does not want, I'm okay with that. I won't touch your whole new world because I'm like, please refill my hand with these beautiful one drops.
Yeah, I know whenever I'm playing anything aggro, if I can avoid playing whole new world, I will avoid it like the plague because I don't want to give you more cards that I need to get rid of. It will not work well for me. It will not go well.
Yeah.
That's actually how I got the person who got first place, Miss. She did a whole new world, and that's how I got her on game 2. Was she had to play that whole new world, and I just got, I believe it was 3 daisies, a lady, a tramp. It just flowed perfectly, and I played them all in one turn. So it was gross.
I do see
Aggro Baby is.
I was just about to say I do see that Aggro Baby is in here, so I figured I would add her in because we need some Aggro Baby insight on this deck for sure. Hello.
Hey!
We love some good technical difficulties. I cannot hear you right now. Oh my God, I just noticed your crown as well.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yeah. I was just saying this deck is so good. I love this deck. I started playing a similar deck last set, and the extra bits that we got this set are just like so delicious and evil. I'm so excited. This is one of the decks I'm definitely interested in playing this set.
Yeah, I think you found the right 60 cards in this build. I mean, both the Nala and the Little John, those cards are cards that are so deceiving because your opponent may leave them for a couple like turns because of the fact that they're a 0/4, and they know that they're not going to get damaged by them, but they may not be able to take them out in one turn, so they don't want to use up the turn half hitting them because they know you've got Rapunzel there. So it's just there's such good cards. Like this deck is so well built.
I have to thank my fiance. He's Corey's the one, because I walk up to him, I'm like, I want to play these cards, help. So
I feel
understand that.
in my soul.
I was like, Bri and I definitely go to some of our friends, her husband, and some other players on our team that we play with a lot to get build advice because neither of us are fantastic at deck building.
Yeah, literally, because unfortunately, I had some health issues come up and I was unable to fly, so I couldn't go to Charlie's. So then last minute, I was trying to figure out what I was going to be able to play at the PPG qualifier event that was happening at one of our local game stores that same weekend. And so it was like, okay, day before, help. I need deck I can play with minimal brain function. Help me.
Which
didn't you get second?
Yes,
I
exactly.
Did.
That minimal brain power really worked well for Bri as she got second with ease. And it was not an easy crowd. It was a pretty tough crowd that she went through.
I beat Kyle McGinty, and I'm going to avoid playing him at any tournament ever again.
We keep
because
joking that
he
we're
is known as one of our great friends, but also known for kicking my butt. And I beat him, and I'm pretty sure this was like the first time I beat him in an actual tournament, like not just like play testing or goofing around, but like something that was like, okay, this actually matters. And I won. And I literally just I was in shock, and I stood up and I was like, I quit. I'm never playing again. And my husband was like, he beat you that badly? And Kyle goes, no, she won. And I was like, he was like, oh, you're quitting while you're on top. I was like, yes. Does Kyle remember? You should send a reminder. I did remind him yesterday that I beat him. I don't think I reminded him today.
Well, here's his reminder today. We know.
I was like, hey, do you remember that one time that this happened? He will forever. I will never let him forget it. He's crushed me like a bajillion times, and he would never do that. But because of how many times he has beat me, I will hold this over him forever.
I'll send him a reminder.
Like,
I love that.
Look at all these packs that I won, Kyle.
We to be very fair, Kyle is an amazing TCG player. He's played tons of TCGs. So whenever we beat him, we really feel like we're on top of the world. We have now joked that we're going to create t-shirts, and then every time we beat him in a tournament, we're going to get the date and the name of the tournament on the back of the shirt.
Mm-hmm. So far, this would be my only date on there, but I'm gonna wear it with pride.
Well, I did manage to get a few of the other decks from top 8, so we can take a look at some of those if my computer wants to cooperate. Mm-hmm. So we had this Blurple deck, which those monstros scare me.
That's the first thing I see when I look at this is that monstro. Coming for me, monstro.
Amanda, did you go up against this deck or any decks like this?
I did not see a Monstro deck, and I was so thankful. I kept dodging those bullets. I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, this build is pretty good. I like seeing, I like some of the spice that's in here. The Anna, as well as They Never Come Back. That I think those are both interesting cards to throw in here that are very good. I like seeing sort of the different build for this. I haven't seen or played against a lot of Blurple yet this set, so interesting to see this. Do you guys see a lot of Blurple in your meta locally? Any of you guys?
That's all I'm seeing right now is Blurple all the time. So me and Monstro, we've got a fight going on. But Namari comes in the clinch for me.
Ooh, I have been playing her in my Steel Song deck, and I love her.
Yes.
We aren't seeing a ton of Blurple in Portland, but I think because there's so many Diggy type builds that we are seeing, the meta is going to start to shift and evolve because people are already talking about getting back on red blue. Yeah, which means that Blurple will then come back out.
Yeah, I played our good friend Remington last night, and he only plays Ruby Sapphire, and I was on Steel Song, and I had so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, isn't it?
This is my thrilled face.
Yeah. Because the build that Remy is on is a item build. He loves the items, and I love him for that. However, traditional Steel Song, you have really one route that you can control in that matchup, and it is to find whole new world, into a whole new world, into a whole new world, into a whole new world.
And guess what? I did that one game, and I decked him, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Because not only am I playing whole new world, but I'm also Chelsea just said I can't wait for that big Tamatoa to get rotated, and she also had to play Remy last night and was not thrilled about it either.
I mean, it's a good deck.
It's a
right?
great deck. But I won't be sad when it goes away.
You don't think it's getting reprinted?
Don't put that evil out there.
We are rotten to the lore.
Don't listen to these people on here. We don't want that. Don't put that negative energy out there.
This deck list is cute, but it's missing a very important card, in my opinion.
I don't want Daisy right now, and I agree with this build.
Nathaniel.
Oh,
this list right here you have pulled up is missing.
Okay,
Mr.
Amanda,
Nathaniel.
I have to fill you in. Alyx has been part of this, and I guess Cece as well. I got to fill you in on this. So Bri has a favorite card this set.
Nathaniel Flint.
Boy, does she.
Oh,
Nathaniel Flint. It is
Turn 1, Cinderella, right there. Boom. You're just gonna have her. Okay. Turn 2, you get back to it. They play some sort of dork, like I don't know. They play Tebow, whatever. Who cares? They play a dork. And then you use your Cinderella to sing Let the Storm Rage On. You get to draw a card, deals damage, and then bam! Nathaniel Flint.
Yeah.
Kind of like me, but he doesn't take damage every turn without a captain.
So,
that's hot.
Thank you.
Is
Thank
it?
you.
put that energy out there, Amanda. We need to get her.
Sorry, it's so good.
Listen,
I task
when
you
it works,
trying it.
mm,
I think you need to try because it's not going to pop off like you think it is, and I need you to experience that. And I don't feel like you've experienced it yet because
it always just pops off. Because I just always had it.
Yesterday, I'm playing my Steel Song deck, and what happens is I do get Cindy on turn 1, and I do have one of my Let the Storm Rage on. So I'm like, great. This is a great turn 1 into turn 2. Except the problem here
is you don't have Nathaniel Flint, so you can't play him.
No, the problem is my opponent goes, I'm not letting you banish one of my characters, so I'm not going to play anything. What do I do then?
Or we have a lot of green purple or Chernadogs, and they have this lovely turn 2 play that says, I'm taking your song away. And then you go, well, I'm sad.
Well, you have to have more than one song. You have to have 2. You need to have at least one Let the Storm Rage On, because that gets you the card draw. But then you have a backup of strength, and then they have to choose.
And in case anyone's wondering, Bri lives in this wonderful land of you just have the cards.
You just have the cards, and then you win. You just have it.
You know, that must be an opening hand. Like, do you still place me in this build? Or do you?
Yes, because Nathaniel Flint is a captain.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It makes it even better because it improves your SME.
Yeah, I was afraid we might go this way. We've noted 6 cards that we have to have in our opening hand.
What are we thinking?
Exactly. So just
We're just gonna draw our ink.
Okay. Okay.
Which
Yeah,
Steel Song does so well.
yeah, just do it.
Okay.
And I'll never have 2 Ursulas. Never. It never happens.
Yeah.
I said no.
Except that turn 2, 3.
It's like if you're
turn
playing
3
against
play.
purple, anything,
Exactly.
they're gonna have the fox. They're playing against me on Steel Song. I'm gonna have the Nathaniel Flint combo. It's just it is what it is.
I
My
do think it is a good strategy for catching people off guard.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be like, "What did you just do?"
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely. Now I do think it stunts the game plan. However, and that's how I feel about Nathaniel Flint. I think there's a place for him. I just don't think it's Steel Song.
Yeah. I agree with that.
He's just gonna and then
The birds.
The
birds.
all the birds.
All the
I
birds.
hate playing against this deck. Makes my brain hurt.
Amanda, did you play
Which
against
means I
this
need to
one?
play it.
Yes.
Oh, I played against this one. Oh, this one hurts my brain. Yes.
I feel it in my soul. Gives me a
So
headache just looking at the list.
I played a deck similar to this last set at the
Which is
start
why I
of
hate it so much.
which is and I kind of want to try this out with the pull the lever and the wrong lever cards, but it also means I need to go find some enchanteds because I haven't found those yet.
Mm-hmm.
A moment for the missing enchanteds.
Cue the
I did something so hot against this deck. I was so proud of myself for this. So I was at 16 lore.
Okay.
And I had a Go-Go Tamago on field. And she had, I'm going to exaggerate, but 100 characters on her side. And I was like, all hope is lost. And she had an Elsa exerted. So, and we all know Elsa's got a 5 toughness and she's evasive. Well, Go-Go's evasive. Well, I believed in the heart of the cards, okay? So I drew another Go-Go Tamago. And I was able to hit that Elsa, bringing her to 4, slam that Go-Go, and quested for 20. It was so beautiful.
I love that so much. That is also
the crown on that one.
That is also why I fear Go-Go so much. Because I feel like Go-Go comes out at just like the most random points in the game. It's really hard to predict when someone's going to play it because you can play it off of a card that has 1 damage, or you could play it off a card that like the Elsa with 4 damage on it. And it is so hard to play against, which is why I'm actually surprised that this build doesn't have 1 or 2 of them in it as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting to get a Go-Go off of the big aerial. That's a 2/8. So I'm hoping to get that to 7 one time. So that's my goal.
Oh no, I don't like that.
I was playing my deck, and I'm also on Amber Emerald at the moment, and I had Go-Go and Rapunzel in hand, and for whatever I was playing Blurple, so I just had like an absurd amount of ink, and so I Go-Go'd. Like I threw something into something, made it get damage, Go-Go'd, healed it, and it was just like I did all these things. And I was just like, I have all the power. I was like, yes.
Yes.
And then this is the last deck that we have to go over, and it was the deck that took first place.
Mm-hmm.
The Dancing Rhinos, which I love the name of this deck. It's fantastic. This build, I have no notes. As a Steel Song player, I love this build. I love the aerial. That aerial does work the big one, the Sonic Warrior.
She's my girl. Yeah, we go way back.
We go. That's like, Cece, I love that you say that because that's how I feel about the Amethyst Bell, that when you play can move damage, because I played that in my Jafar deck when I brought my Jafar deck to the Chicago DLC.
Yes.
And I was like, this card's good. I played it
before everyone knew it was good too.
Yeah.
Everyone was definitely sleeping on that card still.
My thing with this list, because I like it a lot, I definitely would love to have a conversation and be like, I'm curious why the Troubadour? Because as a Steel Song player,
interesting.
Yeah,
I don't play Troubadour. I prefer the Ursula, and that's because it gives me better Rapunzel damage, and that is the only reason.
I recently switched to Troubadour because it can take things out, like small things, because there's so much aggro out there right now, right?
Yeah,
so I think just taking things out without taking damage back.
The resist right now is just really powerful, and I think it sticks a little bit more. I go back and forth because I do really like the Ursula too, because I like having those Rapunzel targets. But right now my build is actually with all the Troubadour. I don't have Ursula in my build at the moment. I also am running the new 7-drop mini Whole New World. Why I can't think of the name of the card at the moment.
Beyond the Horizon.
Yeah, Beyond the Horizon. I'm running 4 with 4 Whole New Worlds.
Wow.
No wonder you ran them out.
Interesting.
Well, I would have milled Remington too.
Let's just say he was not pleased with me when I was just like, and I use the Troubadour and Ariel to sing this, and you may discard your hand of 6 cards right now and draw 3.
See, I see the use of Troubadour. I do. And most people that know me know that it took me 5 ever to trust Ursula in my 2-drop slot. Like I didn't want her there. She made me upset. I was like, there are better cards. Like, I don't need to play her. And I didn't. I was right. But then there came a point where I did need to play her, which meant I had to trust her. And it wasn't that I wasn't sold on Troubadour when it first got, when it first came out. I was like, oh, I'm getting better results. Like the Rapunzel value here is just so heavy.
Yeah. And I will be honest, I switch back and forth so frequently.
Yeah. Well, and my build's only on 3 Ursula.
Okay.
So it like going up to that 4 spot, I think that's very fair. I also, the interesting thing about this build, I'm a Naveen fan. And I love that this deck is on 4 of them because so many people are like, that's crazy. I would never play more than 2. And Naveen is a very powerful card.
Yeah.
Incredible. I'm on 2, and I'm on 2 and not a higher count because I have that Beyond the Horizon. It hurts to have to sing with, like, because I can't use him to sing it by itself. It's one too many. So it just, it's easier to have only 2. Like, it just has been working a little bit better for me. But I love him as well.
I've been running the Minnie Mouse Musketeer champion because she'll take out like the shark when she comes out, or pretty much any big body really when she comes out.
I love that spice.
With Chernabog out there. So she's also really good Rapunzel fodder for me as well. So maybe that's the other reason. I'm also only running 2 Prince Naveen.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because that's unequal too, unfortunately.
Well, that was the last deck I had to go over that I was able to get for the Lorcana Ladies Championship. I want to thank Amanda for joining us. It was so great to have you on and meet you. We're so excited that you did so well this weekend, and we hope to see you continue to do well. So if you'd like to let everybody know where they can follow you.
Yeah, of course. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm even on TikTok. It's just under Amanda Payne. And I do even weird little ASMR videos, and I'm going to start doing it with Lorcana cards too lately. So it should be interesting.
And I do have your Instagram in the show description. So everyone give Amanda a follow. And we hope that you have a great rest of your evening.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Bye. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies.
All right.
Are we ready to talk about your amazing new show?
Yes, but namely, I'm not a lady for all those of you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you can.
No, you're
I'm
good.
usually you guys.
Yeah.
But it feels bad to say you guys on this show.
Well, we also just did the CCS Ladies weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I think it's important that the viewers.
No, I agree.
Brief pause. Can we get a better view of the crown? Your aggro baby, like your name is like cutting it off for me, and I need full view.
This is my Ursula crown, and this is Ariel's voice.
I love it.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great segue, I guess, into Rotten to the Lore, because part of the impetus behind it was when I first got into Lorcana, I love this so much. I love everything about it. I've always been really into Disney. But everybody was a princess. Everybody wanted to be a princess. Everyone was making princess decks. Everyone was talking, like all the cosplays were princesses at the DLCs. And I was just like, but I'm not really a princess, right? It took me a while to be like, wait, I can be a villainess. That's part of Disney too. I can be fully and authentically myself in Lorcana community. And meeting Alyx and seeing their vision being so similar, I think it became like really important to us to try to make sure that other people know that everybody has a place in Lorcana and that you don't have to fit some sort of, prepackaged stereotypes, certainly around all the TCG stereotypes that exist. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of like money walls. There's a lot of like expectations coming to a league. Like I play in Seattle. I run a league in Seattle, and we've got Ravensburger here, which means that we've got devs coming to all of our leagues constantly. So it can be super intimidating to pull out your, deck that you built because you love Ursula. And so you just put all the Ursula cards. I mean, maybe that's a bad example. There's a lot of really good Ursula cards.
Wait, I have a good example. So we play at a store locally, and there's always a group of Magic players that play Commander behind us. And one of the players was asking me about Lorcana because she found out that there are Aristocat cards now, and she's like, I need a deck. And I was like, all right, I got you. Like, we'll figure out some time before league or even at league where you can come play with us, and we'll teach you how to play and get you in and get you that fun deck to build.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's like there's so many things that make Lorcana community different from general TCG communities. And I'm sure other communities feel the same way about their, heart passions. If Pokemon is like their heart passion, or if Yu-Gi-Oh is their heart passion, or whatever. For me, it feels like there's this almost childlike wonder that can be a part of this community. And not everybody that's here is here just to win. Mm-hmm. Some people are here because they're interested in just, the pretty cards and making a deck that they're going to like looking at as they play, or making a deck that is just going to like reminisce them to some part of their childhood that they really liked, or some part of their adulthood that they really like. There's this added piece for me that
I have an important question. Who's your favorite villain? Ursula.
Absolutely. Ursula is like my alter ego in Disneyland.
I love it. I love it. I was pretty sure that was going to be the answer, but I couldn't wait any longer to ask the question.
What's
Round
your
table now.
favorite
Everyone
villain?
has to answer. Alex,
Yeah.
go.
My favorite villain and hero. The one, the only. Stitch.
Okay, did you well, I will say my favorite villain is definitely Hades.
Yes, good
A
one.
villain.
Bri.
And that new Matt is great.
Hades
Oh,
Hades in my top 3. I think even though like that is my favorite movie, whenever it just comes specifically to villains, I feel like it's Maleficent.
Ooh,
Because I'm like,
Really good one.
honestly, kind of justified in why she's evil. So I get it. I
Yeah,
can
that
support
origin story.
fantastic.
Like I can
That's a great
support
movie.
it. After,
That is an
especially,
underrated movie.
And
but
she looks
like-
great.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Amazing.
she's incredible. Like,
Fun
Wow.
fact about that movie, the baby Maleficent is her actual daughter because any baby that they hired would
Was
not
too
stop
scared,
crying because she
crying.
was so creepy. And her baby
I
was the
did-
only one.
I
That would
did know
smile at
that. That is such a good fun fact.
that's like one of my
that's
favorite
real.
fun
I did
facts
not
about
know
that movie.
I did not know that.
Have you seen the new live action Stitch?
Yes,
Not yet.
I have.
Uh-huh.
I'm afraid to, if I'm honest.
I'm in that boat.
Okay, so I'm not a go to the movies type of person because I pay for the subscriptions. So I feel like I'll just wait for them to come out instead of paying $20 for me to go watch the movie. And since I'm going to go with my partner, that's $40. And of course, we're going to want popcorn, and they don't really like it when you sneak things in. So whatever. And I'm a bring no blankets the movie theater type. Anyway, we went and we had like planned it. It was on our calendar. I was worried. I'm a critic of most live actions. I'm like, why are we remaking this movie, especially like this? But I was excited for the bucket. They didn't have the bucket, and we went on opening night, and they sold out. And I was like, and you know that they're
that makes me so angry. They'll be like, oh, you know what? I don't even want to see the movie anymore. The only
I was
reason
just like,
I wanted to come
Our
was for
friend
this bucket.
Randall, him and his wife, Stitch is their favorite, and they went to see it opening weekend, and the bucket was also already sold out. So I think some of the theaters like sell them early, and people go and buy them, which is sad because I wish that people who are actually seeing the movies got to get.
They don't have a limit on it either.
Yeah.
Like you can buy several. And one of my friends was so sweet. They went to a different movie theater and they had a different bucket and was like, hey, they have one here. Do you want me to get it for you? And I was like, oh, you are so sweet. That is not the bucket I want, but I appreciate you.
That is not the right one, but
is
the
there,
thought
and
that
I love
counts.
you.
Because honestly, if I'm going to spend $50 on a big bucket, I need to like it. And
Yeah.
so anyway, we went. I have some qualms with it. I think it was good. I think it was done well. I have qualms with it because I think that there are a lot of aspects to it, the storyline, right? That they don't do justice. And I know why they don't. One, this started as a lower budget film. It wasn't even going to be in theaters. But two, there's a lot of things going on right now happening because of the administration that is currently in existence, and particularly against like the queer community. And so things like how Pleakley cross-dresses and is kind of the entire personality of the character doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There are key characters that are left out.
Yeah.
And I think that those are disclaimers that people should know going into it, but I think for what it was very well done.
Yeah, I would agree. Those are the couple of things that I didn't love that they changed, but I felt like if you knew that going in, it was like you could still enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
However, I just want to also add a disclaimer of they go too hard at the end, and I might have been crying like a small child by the end of the movie. It didn't need to go that hard. It's just a kid's movie, and it was a little rude that it went as hard as it did.
I feel like if they took a poll of how many people went and watched it in theaters, they're going to find more adults.
Yeah.
Like millennial adults watching the movie, and that's fine. I will say there was a group of like young adult, just were teenagers who like snuck into the movie. And then they sat right next to me. I don't prefer to sit next to people I don't know. It gives me immense anxiety. It gives
Why are you sitting so
anxiety.
close to me? I don't know you.
Yeah. I would literally, I had, so we had 3 drinks because you need ICs. And so I had to move my IC. And I was like, y'all had seats that you could have sat in.
There are tons of other ones, I'm sure.
Like, y'all wanted to sit by a stranger?
Rude.
Like, and then they sat there and talked. They were not in there for very long. But that was a moment that I looked at Dawn and I was like,
Like, I am not.
This is why we wait for the movies to come out on stream.
This is why we watch it in the comfort of our own home.
I can control the environment. The worst thing that'll happen is my dog will bark at the TV.
Exactly. And that is our autistic take for the day. Thank you. Yeah. But to answer your question, I watched it. It was good. Would I pay $20 to go watch it again? Nah, I'd wait. But I think that it does some good things. I will say it is kind of funny. So going to when Ceci and I met, we met at the Seattle DLC. I had an awful Seattle DLC experience in the main event. Like I literally played my worst matchup every single round. It wasn't even funny. Like it was literally like, and all of it could have been avoided. I had a time extension due to my disability, and I don't want to say it wasn't honored. It was just honored incorrectly in the first round, which did make the difference in who I hit. And so I learned a very good lesson, and that is how to better advocate for myself. And so from that takeaway, I went and started playing the side events because I just wanted tickets. My goal was to get the Cindy mat, and it wasn't going to happen in the main event. Like I was just kind of like, we're out. So Ceci and I got paired into each other. And we both have this like elaborate setup that we do. Like it is really cool. Ceci's is very like evil and beautiful. And I'm over here with my different stitches doing different things.
Stitches out.
But very much like the same vibe where you're like, you both, you get it.
Yeah. And then we just like started talking, and we started talking about like the community and how we love it here, but also we want to protect this space and we want people to feel like they are seen and welcome. And it was like very clear that we just like clicked and vibed. We're like, you know, I like you. Like all right, cool. And then I talked a little bit about our team and like, you know, all the things. And it was funny because Ceci was like, oh, I have to go to a round. We'd finished the match. I have to go to a round. But let's get connected. And Ceci, would you like to take the rest of this story here?
Yeah. Ooh, I'm not sure where you're going with this story.
Oh. That's a valid perspective.
I love that. That's
you need me running away to go and get my thing signed, or
no. Okay, I'll finish the story. So Ceci like was like, okay, yeah, let's get connected, and told me what her name was on Discord.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then she left, and I was like, oh, I have no idea how to spell that. I don't even know what that is.
You're like me. I would be told like, oh, find this person on Discord or like on, and I'm like, here's my phone. Could you please put that in? Because
that's how I normally do it. So
well, it hit me like another round or two later that there's no way in hell this human who just told me they're super neurodiverse processed what I said as I was running away, especially because my username at the time had some French in it. So I like ran back and shoved a piece of paper there, and I was like, this is how it's spelled.
Yeah, it was so good because like I was just like, ah, what a beautiful connection to this person I will never see again.
Never see again.
And it was like a beautiful bitter moment because it was just like, darn it.
It's so funny that was your initial like meet story, because I have been thinking, I'm like, oh shoot, like the PPG event's coming up soon, and Bri and I had initially ordered stickers from a company, and they turned out terribly.
Oh, no.
Absolutely horrendous. Luckily, we got like a full refund for them, so no hard feelings for me. I'm like, if you want to give me my money back because the quality was real bad, I'm happy. I don't. But I've been trying to figure out like what
now sad
what to get for the PPG event, and I was like, oh, I need to make sure we have something because I don't want to have that experience where you're like telling someone and then they're like, I don't remember this later because I can't remember something from 10 minutes ago, let alone
right. Absolutely.
the next day when you're trying to concentrate.
As a side note, I know that you talked to the accessibility people at the Seattle DLC after the event and explained to them about your experience and how it impacted you. And I don't know if you know this, but I went to Continentals and I also have accessibility stuff that I need. And they had an entire accessibility section. They had a team that was dedicated for accessibility. There's a person who manages that team that's his only job now is to work on accessibility. And it was exponentially better than it has been before. So your work was fruitful for everybody.
That's awesome. And I was going to ask if you could kind of expand on that because I'm not sure if many people in the community know that that's an option for them. So I would love to give that space here so you can share that.
I don't know if I have the right badge here, but essentially they have these little stickers that they put on your badge. It doesn't damage the badge and comes off perfectly fine afterwards. And then that entitles you access to a closer bathroom. It entitled you access to a space that you could be stationary if you had any kind of mobility stuff. So they were on top of it enough that whoever you got paired with would be paired with you at that table in that spot, which was something that they had set up for Seattle DLC, but it wasn't 100% always working. This one, they really were able to get on top of it. And if ever for whatever reason, because I was really hustling to try to get wall tickets as well. So I was like, I'm going to be in this tournament, but if I'm not doing well, I'm signed up for this other one and I'm going to drop this one and go to that. They were able to manage even that with my stationary spot. No problem. They were able to give access to spaces for people in mobility devices to have like wider, pathways. They provide extra time for folks that need that. Those are just the things that I specifically use. Everybody's going to have different things that they need. But the reality of the situation is that as long as you can verbalize what you need to them, or someone you know can verbalize what you need to them, they're going to do their absolute best to accommodate that. And I don't see that everywhere I go. It's something that's super important to me. And another reason why this community really speaks to me, because they care.
And I think you can typically go report to the like one of the table, like the judge table, to get that, or you can fill out, at least for like the DLCs, there was a form you could fill out beforehand, right?
So there's like an online form, and it's very standard and simple. It's not like invasive at all. It's just kind of like, do you need accommodations? What kind of accommodations? And then you go to their like information table. One thing I will say, so I got the opportunity in this first DLC season to do a lot of things. One, play a DLC without ever having an accommodation because I didn't think I needed it, and I was wrong. Be a judge who both needed accommodations but also got to oversee the accommodations section. And then I also played as a player that had stationary seating in the accessibility area. I think throughout this first year, they've grown a lot in how they're handling it. Because even like at Vegas, unfortunately, the way that it was kind of done, because this is how it had to be done, was it would just like take a judge and be like, hey, you're going to be stationed there. And that left a lot of us without the ability to help and give resources. Like if people were leaving the area to go to play a side event, it would mess it all up. By Seattle, some of that fixed, but even like I know when Cece and I played, it had initially put us in the wrong place because of my stationary or static seating. And they were like, is this okay? So I ended up having to move seats. It wasn't that far. I did move. It was just easier. But I will say they have definitely made the process pretty easy.
Awesome.
And they're getting better and better at it. One thing I know that they really like is feedback. So like in Seattle, they put us close to the bathroom, but they put us so far away from the exit. And also it was in the part that was right by the devs, and it was just so loud and there was so much congregating. Like it almost made it worse. But that was still better than what happened in Vegas, where they had them right by the door and so far from any bathroom. And sometimes there are places that have restrictions, right? And they do their best. But I think one way that people can learn and grow about with accessibility is when people are like, hey, this thing didn't work. Or like what happened with my mishap on my time is that judge just didn't know that I had a time extension. And I didn't say, oh, I had a time extension. Because I thought that she knew I had a time extension. And that was just, it wasn't communicated. But otherwise it's very seamless. I left my little sticker on because I was proud of myself for getting accommodations. So
I think I left mine on as well. I only got one in Vegas. I just remember Damien took his off because he was not wanting that. I think it's also worth noting that even if you don't get to sign up ahead of time, or even if something happens, like my knee problem isn't always a problem. Sometimes it's fine, and sometimes I can move around no problem, and sometimes it's really acting up, and it's going to be, taking my attention if I try to walk around these giant spaces. So even if something were to happen to you, or you like sprained your ankle or something mid-event, or if you just didn't know that accessibility was an option prior to the event, at any time during the event, you can go and talk to that person and they will make sure that you get accommodations. It's pretty cool.
Also, like I was
accommodations too.
Yeah, I was like, Bri also, I think, has a really good story with accommodations that I would think a lot of people may not think about. In Chicago, you got accommodations, right?
Yeah, so I was gonna say too, I had no idea that was, I think sounds like accommodations. I think of people like my nephew was on the spectrum. I think of people like that genuinely like no, like they need to be stationary, like they have those things. I did not classify as myself as somebody needing accommodations just because I had a toddler with me, but they were like, oh no, absolutely, you have a baby. Like we're gonna set you up. And I was like, no, I felt back. I was like, I don't want to be taking a space away from someone that really needs it. Like, no. And they were that was in Chicago, and they were like very nice about being like, absolutely not. Like, we have more than enough space. You're not taking space from people. And like, because I felt guilty because I was like, what if I say I need this spot and there's someone that really needs it that can't have it because I have this slot? While it is more convenient for me to be here, like I can make it work. But it was awesome that they just like, they set me up. They gave me like an entire table so that way I could have a full setup for the child on a table next to me.
I love that you refer to him as the child.
He is the child. Is much better than the demon, which is what I was calling him earlier.
No mom moment right there.
He got a haircut today, and then he went shopping for new shoes and was super excited for new shoes and was just like,
aren't we all
living his best life. Grandma was there, and he got to eat yummy food, and he got his hair cut, and he was getting to go shopping, and he was living his best life. He was demon. He was chaotic. So he had so much energy.
I think when we talk like accessibility, a lot of times, and I myself fall into the same trap, which is why I keep the sticker on my badge, because we sometimes remove the access from ourselves, or we add barriers because we're told that accessibility or any type of accommodations are meant for X person. and that's not me. And even like I have mobility issues. I sometimes have to use a cane. I'm on the spectrum, amongst other things. For quite a while, would not accept accommodations because there are people in the community who do feel like, oh, well, you're getting special treatment and that's the only reason you're winning and blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, that comes from ableist culture. And unfortunately, it is also why we ourselves will police, even like some of the stuff you're saying, Bri, of like, I didn't want to take a spot from somebody else. And I think one of the things with Rotten to the Lore is we want everyone to understand that this space is meant for them in every aspect, because it's not about taking spaces. They're not 15 spaces, and only the most disabled of us may have those spaces. It is necessary convenience, and those are things that are important to note. Is like, no, if you need the accommodation or the accommodation would make it better for you, then you should have right to that. And I think that Ravensburger is doing a pretty good job. Like, they're not capping that accessibility section. They also are willing to listen. I am interested to see how far this goes, right? So like, I'm visually impaired. Yes, I wear glasses. I'm legally blind in my left eye. In fact, a fun story, not so fun. I was playing that lovely red-blue match last set champs. It was the items build versus my trad steel song. And I had whole new world into whole new worlds into whole new worlds. And all I had to do was top deck out of the whole new world, find another one, and I could hard cast and I win. I was looking for it. I cast it. I grab my 7 cards and I see what I think is an Aveen. It's not. It was a whole new world. And so I conceded. It was devastating because he was waiting for me to say the words I concede. And my teammate was behind me, watched me do the thing and was like, and I was like, I wonder what in that moment could have been helpful as an accommodation. Because I did just see the uninkable card type, because I didn't look at the card, right? Like the card is a different color. That is not the issue. I looked at the ink cost because I was doing it real quickly so we could get into our game too. And sometimes I wonder, because there are people who have more visual impairment than myself, how they play this game. One of my friends has a friend who wants to play the game but cannot see. So how do we engage? And I think that those are questions that Ravensburger is putting in time to answer that other TCGs just don't. Like, the answer is you play casually. Sorry. And
these are hard questions. I think about, like, I have a documented short-term memory disability, and I can provide documentation for that, no problem. But are they going to let me take notes? Probably not, because there is a world where that is perceived as an advantage. So what is the, like, mid ground there, right? Like, it's funny. I can play, Diablo, look at the hand, and a second later it's all gone. Like, unless you're going to let me actually look
trying to figure out how people do that and remember it, because I'm like, those are pretty cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
How often we're looking for, like, what's not there, right? Like, we're looking for, oh, is there a song? Okay. Or, oh, do you have B prep? Okay. Like,
if you have one of the things I want to take out of your deck,
sure.
Great. The other things in your hand, I that's not a skill I have learned. But you're right. Like, I wonder, how do you make that accommodation for the community?
I can't even imagine.
Make it more inclusive.
And I think that's something they did really well actually at Eclipse while we were there. So I haven't said much about it. I've been having a lot of health issues the past couple of weeks. I believe Courtney knows. I think Alyx knows some of also. I had some blood clots in my lungs. I've been in and out of the hospital, and I'm on a lot of medication. And so keeping track and remembering triggers and things like that whenever I went to play was something really difficult for me. But the store, like, everyone that was there knew me. We go there so much. Like, I knew everyone that was there playing, as well as just we go to the store very often. So all the employees knew me. And so they told me, they were like, hey, if you're at a point like you need to take notes, like take notes if you need to, because we want you to still be able to play, but you are not capable of playing to your full ability. And we know that. So they were able to like work with me and find a way for me to be able to play.
Yeah.
Where I felt like I was still able to actually like compete, because a lot of medication makes me very drowsy and out of it. And
yeah. Well,
so I was very lucky that store handled it, I think, very respectfully and very kindly. And I very much appreciate everyone there. That was really kind of, I never even asked for it. It was actually our friend Griff, like literally went and advocated it for me. Because sometimes that's just what it takes, is someone else saying like, hey, you know what? This is not fair to you for you to try to put yourself in this situation. So what can we do to help do this? And I think having a friend even that can go in, step in and say that is sometimes also just really helpful.
Oh, yeah. And I think that when we're talking about accommodations and accessibility, like sometimes one size fits all it doesn't work.
Right.
But sometimes blanket accommodations for the community, like note taking, that is something, and I by no means have the pay grade to tell Ravensburger what they should and shouldn't do. But I will say that is an accommodation that if you made it a part of your rules, and they do have a team that goes back and redoes and revises these rules, that maybe we do start thinking about note taking, because it's something that can substantially level the playing field. And it can substantially level the playing field also across gender lines. And I think that is something that when we're talking accessibility, when we're talking inclusion, that we need to remove barriers. And especially when we're talking about, like, we have so many cards that are like, let me see your hand and I have to remember it. Like, I'm good at doing that because my memory is somewhat photographic. I also know, though, that the only other people who can do that are people who have been playing TCGs for a hot minute, and they've trained to do that. Namely, mostly dudes.
Yeah.
Not all dudes.
Mainly but, like me, like with my note taking, even what helped me, I was at a point, they would tell me color pairing, like what they were playing before the match would start. And by the time I would get my starting hand, I would already not remember the color pairing.
Yeah.
Same.
Like, I would have already forgotten it.
Quick before, I just want to give a shout out to the raid that we've just got. So thanks everyone who just
Wonderland.
Yeah. I think I would support a similar move. I find it hard pressed to find a reason that note taking is a bad, right? The only thing that not allowing note taking is doing is rewarding good memory, because it's not like we're bringing notes in with us. That would be different, right? But
so it kind of reminds me of like what they say about like school testing in general right now, where it's like, okay, we're going to grade this fish on their ability to climb a tree. That's what it makes me think.
Why are there fish in the classroom? What happened to the students? But I got there.
But I think the other thing is, the only thing I can think about of why it is not allowed is like a time restriction, but I don't even think that's a great excuse of like why it shouldn't be allowed, because I think you have to learn, like, that's just going to be a skill that you have to learn, is you have your set time that you have to finish 3 games, and you can learn to take shorthand notes that make sense to you.
Well, there is another component to this, because I do think the time con here of like, oh, well, people are going to go to time more. I think that's definitely in consideration. But the bigger problem I see is bigger teams, or even just really good players using it to snipe the field. And one of the reasons that being on a team is so good is that you get to be like, oh, this is who I played against, and this is what they're playing. But what will end up happening, or could end up happening, is silos, where people start creating discords and only certain people are allowed in those discords, and they're sharing their notes from every round. And then not necessarily players such as us, but players such as Wonderland, who are Worlds players, are going to get sniped. And while I am totally like, yes, we should, spread the wealth, we should get people, I don't think that we should do it that way, right? And I think that is disingenuous, but I do think that is already happening to some degree. And unfortunately...
Yeah, I mean, like, Wonderland already said, like, this is already happening without note-taking.
Exactly.
Yeah. As soon as you see one of those popular players at an event, you're like, someone's going to go over there and be like, oh, they're on
this, and this is the spice they're on. I think, honestly, that this is an area where Ravensburger can improve so much, and that is just being like, you know what, note-taking, while there are potential cons, there are so many other benefits, like allowing players to play the game. And letting them use the cards and the ways that they are, are meant to be utilized. Because it does no good if Cece plays a Diablo and says, hey, let me see your hand. If then Cece's like, yeah, those were cards.
You had a shiny card. Literally, that's how my memory works. My memory is like, okay, so did you have something I could rip from your hand that I wanted to get rid of? The next thing that I remember is, did you have a shiny card that I liked that I'm like, I wish I had that enchanted. I want that enchanted. And now my brain is like, oh, I'm a goldfish. I wanted that card. I still haven't sold it.
I love the enchanted Cinderella in your hand.
And that's how my brain functions. And that's probably why I'm not a Worlds player.
There's for sure ways to do this, I think. And Ravensburger's done a really great job of listening to community and trying to meet those needs. So that's our job. Our job is to provide them with the feedback that we have, and they are asking for it. So we should give it to them.
And I mean, I think another good example of them taking feedback is with the Play Hub. I don't know if you guys have done an event on the Play Hub. It's a little clunky. It's a little clunky. We did find our local store that uses it already. We did figure out the problem last night of why we couldn't find the events. There's 2 Play Hub websites.
Oh, interesting.
One is not the correct one, is like the beta, and it's just like straight cardio. And if the store uses that accidentally, they no one can access it. And we found that out last night that was our problem. But it was nice because we just put it into the Discord, the official Lorcana Discord, and someone answered us right away. And then we were able to get it corrected. The store rebuilt the matchups in the correct system and then sent it out. And it was nice. Like I liked it. And I even saw some accessibility feedback in the feedback tracker on the Discord. So I think it is important that when they're asking for feedback, that the community is giving it so that we can get better.
And they do great things with it. I was lucky to be one of the people that did some of the testing for the Play Hub back in December. And they literally implemented every single thing that was suggested during that session. So they want to give us what we want. We just have to tell them what we want.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So what can we expect from Rotten to the Lore coming up soon?
Oh, well, you gotta wait and see.
That's not the answer I wanted.
No. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take it back. Our big goal is to demystify, right? So for the first 8, or I guess episode 2 to 9, we're going to be going through each chapter or each set of Lorcana and explaining what new mechanics or what new types of cards came out in that set, playing some games with the starter decks to show folks literally from the ground up who we're running on the assumption that you know nothing about the game. And we're going to take you right up to the door of rotation with this starting off part to get you knowing everything that you can expect as we move into rotation. So we're hoping to get through that by pre-release for Fabled. And then pre-release for Fabled, we're going to shift a little bit more into building community, doing more accessibility stuff, more community engagement. We just want to have this sort of, what's it called? Like a resource pool that people can go back to or send other people to really just take you through the journey. We're also doing the story, which I think is kind of fun. Lorcana puts a lot of effort into the storyline behind each chapter. And I think a lot of people miss that.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in the cards and what they do and the meta that we miss the
I was about to say, like, I know I don't know it as well as I probably should for as much as I play.
It's been a lot of fun to like research it and find out the little bits and pieces and how they fit together.
Yeah.
It's cool.
No, literally, Ceci and I were talking about the segments of our last episode, which was episode 2. It's out now. You can go find us on YouTube, Brought Into the Lore. We also do a daily post on other social media platforms like Blue Sky, Instagram, and Twitter. That being said, we were talking about who should do what segment and what things we were most excited about. And I was like, Ceci, I'm gonna be honest, I think the story lore is all you, because the story that I remember is so bare bones. It's not going to be helpful to anyone. And I can do research, right? Like I am a researcher by career.
Can you also get Alyx's version of Lorcana story? Because I think it would be probably similar to mine.
Oh, if
you
we
should
might.
make it real.
I
do it,
that
you
would
should
be
make it real. My
pretty
version.
funny, real.
Yeah, I'll have that come in the future. My version of the Lorcana story. It is funny. It is. It is not wrong. It isn't wrong. Missing some details though, maybe important ones. But no, I think so. We're moving with these shows. We are starting with the beginner level of getting people invested in the game, and how do you access that, right? Like the homework that we put on our last video was for people to tell us what their barriers were to getting into the game. And if you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you don't have time to watch it, comment what you think your barrier is, because everybody has something that keeps them away from the space, even people who play often, right? Like there comes times where you have lulls. And so some of what our talking about community is going to be about is how do we deal with this space that is so beautiful when so much bad is going on around us, and we want to hold on to the hope of the space, but something either bad happens in the space, or we just feel not welcome in that moment in the space, or it's just being a little too much. And I know other content creators have talked about like getting burnt out of content creation. That is also a component, right? That can happen. And so it is something that is important to note, that is like while it is a beautiful thing to be a part of the community, it is also important to understand limitations. And that goes into like, when y'all had me on before, I talked a little bit, like we want to demystify the space in a lot of ways. We want to create transparency, because people shouldn't sit across from an opponent and get told, well, you're supposed to concede to me because you've taken too long. They shouldn't have a conversation that is preying on them not having played Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, right? They should be able to engage in this space. And one way that we do that is we talk through the things that make us beautiful in our identities and the things that make our community beautiful. And that also helps us foster not only a community-centric space, but also helps us when we talk about brainstorming things that Ravensburger can do for the community, right? Like sometimes there are one-size-fits-all accommodations that do help. And note-taking is one of those. And so I think there will come a point where that bridge gets crossed, and hopefully we can help to have those conversations, because it shouldn't just be on a company.
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny that you bring up the, like, if you're sitting across from a Yu-Gi-Oh player or another, like somebody from another community, because I do think it is very different playing against someone who is like in the Lorcana community, has been in since kind of day one, versus somebody that maybe is switching over from another game. I think there are definitely some different personalities there. And I know like in the competitive scene in like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we also have some really great young players, and they're amazing players. Like, I get sad when I get paired up against them because I'm like, I'm going to get my butt kicked this round. It was well lasted. And there were times where I've been at a big event and I wasn't doing great, but one of those younger players was doing awesome and they were at top tables and they hesitated on a turn or a trigger, and had some bad experiences where the player said, "Oh, you missed the trigger." And I was the one to call the judge over on the player because they didn't miss the trigger. Nothing happened. So I think it's good to demystify. And I also think it's good to also have a community that, if you see something and think there should be a judge call, you can call the judge for a table, even if the players at that table didn't call the judge. Yeah. And I think that's important for people to know, because sometimes, like, the kid who is playing, he's 14. So it's intimidating to call a judge for the first time. And it's intimidating when you're like flustered also because, you were doing well and then now you're not because you missed this play that was going to change the game in your favor.
Yeah. My husband's even called a judge he was watching our brother-in-law at the time play, and the opponent was playing Diablo, I think, and so he actually missed drawing his card for turn, and the opponent just didn't say anything, and no one said anything, and then Carl was so focused on what he needed to do, and then my husband just leaned over and was like, "Hey, he never drew his card for turn," they can go back and they can count it and check it, and him missing that could have cost him the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we really... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I think we really need to normalize that calling a judge is not making an accusation.
Yeah.
Calling a judge can happen for so many reasons, especially if you're somebody who's newer to the game and you just want clarification. There are some cards. I remember for a minute there, that transport pod came out and I was like, wait, tell it to me again. Right? There are some things that are a little complicated, and
I'll be honest, I've called a judge on myself before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've messed up a play and realized that I made a mistake, and I called the judge over to correct it versus being like, "Hey, this is what happened, and are you okay if I do this?" I would rather just have the judge over, correct it how it's supposed to be corrected, and then move forward, because I want to make sure that my opponent feels like they're in a fair match. I don't want it to be a bad experience, because I think that's one of the reasons I've always enjoyed playing Lorcana, because I feel like it's fair, and I feel like I haven't run into too many people that are trying to rule shark me or pull one over on me, and I want to make sure that continues.
I had a very unfortunate situation my first set champs against someone that at the time I thought was my friend, and so it was a very complicated situation, and our group of friends afterwards came to me like, "Hey, call a judge, it's okay, it's yes, they're your friend, but also the game, you're still playing the game and the rules of the game still need to be followed, and they were not doing that, so it is okay." I had to get through very much of learning of it is okay to call a judge, and even if they did something wrong, yes, they might be upset with you, but they're upset because they got caught for doing something wrong. It's not specifically because of you. And that's something I really had to understand and comprehend.
Yeah. And because Lorcana is such a different community than Yu-Gi-Oh, than Pokemon, than Magic, when people integrate into the community, it's also important that we are still facilitating a space where they are welcome.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. There's been a mini Magic bro that has just been super rude, and I don't want to be around them. I would prefer they're not in my happy space. But also, that's not fair to say that all Magic players act like that. And I played Magic casually for years. I say that for years, on and off. But it is one of those things that like we know that we have such a beautiful thing here, and educating people, because there are so many people who are either fall into the Disney adult category, or this is their first TCG or first competitive TCG like myself. People need to know what the decorum is and what the social contract is. And so when you call a judge, it doesn't, even though yelling judge in somebody's face does feel a little aggressive, I think that like moment that you can have of just like, hey, I totally understand. I'm going to go ahead and call a judge is necessary, because what a lot of players, unfortunately, that do come from other games do is they go judge, and they don't ever say why the judge is being called or what's going on, which creates a situation for the person who doesn't know.
Yeah. And then they're scared. There's anxiety. It's like, what did I do wrong? Oh no. Instant panic.
Yeah. And so I think that part of our channel is really, we talk through some of those things. We talk through that there is an already imbalance when an AFAB person sits across from an AMAB person, right? Like there are already imbalances that are, whether perceived or not, affect gameplay and also affect the adjudication of it. Cece, you were going to say something.
There's necessarily this thing, and sometimes when we're inside of it, we don't see. And most people in this room, I believe, have been in the Lorcana community since pretty much the beginning, or at least Floodborn, if you couldn't get your hands on any first chapter, right? And because of that, we're less aware of the bubble that we have been a part of creating. Mm-hmm. And being outside of that bubble and looking in can be hella intimidating, right? We want to burst that bubble. We want to open it up and let people come in freely, right? We love what's been built here. And it's hard to see sometimes from the inside how intimidating that is, because we're here being like, this is such a welcoming community, an accommodating community. But it doesn't look that way when you show up in a league and everyone.
It's so funny because sometimes you'll get like a player or like someone in the community who's not in the community and sees Lorcana being played for the first time, and they'll come over at League, and you'll be in the middle of the game. And like, I am definitely not at my friendliest when I'm mid-game trying to think through, okay, they played this, I need to play this, here's what I'm going to do next. And like, I'm running through those scenarios in my head, and I probably have very much resting, not friendly face.
Corn a dog face.
There we go. Yes. Thank you. We're calling it. Marking that down now.
I'm in. Yeah.
And I always feel bad because after I'm done with like a play and I think about the interaction, I'm like, oh gosh, I was not friendly in that moment. And I always try like at the end of the round to like, hopefully that person's still in the store and I can be like, hey, so sorry I couldn't talk to you. I was mid-game and this is what we're playing. We're playing Lorcana. It's a great new TCG, and like try to have that like positive interaction, because you're right. It's intimidating to go up to anyone when they're playing a TCG because they're mid-game and they're concentrating on the game and they're not at their most welcoming because they're in the moment.
Yeah. I think that like this is such a beautiful space. I think there are so many people that help to make it a beautiful space. I think that it would be a more fair space if people, of course, had their accommodations, but also if people knew what the rest of the competitive community does know. And that also branches into like what makes an aggro deck, what makes a mid-range deck, what is a control deck, how do these things function as hybrids? Do we see an archetype like burn and that tells us something? Because for people who've played other competitive card games, it does.
Yeah.
For people who this is the first card game, you have an idea of what you think aggro is, but I can tell you right now that it needs to be demystified, because a lot of people talk about aggro in a very negative way, but most of the decks that are being played right now are aggro decks.
Yes.
And what they're trying to say, albeit not kind, so we should probably not say not kind things, is that they don't play hyper aggro. Mm-hmm. The type of aggro. And even still, that's not justified. And so I think in order for us to be making these claims as a community of like, we want this to be a space for everyone, it also means that we need to give the information to people. And people who have the information have to not gatekeep it. And I want to be clear, like, we don't think people are doing it on purpose, but just like we've been in this community since day one. Sometimes we forget that we didn't know all of this when we started. And similarly, like when people are doing math and they're like, oh, well, I can ID and be in and blah, blah, blah. You have to learn that. That's a learn. You don't just like be birthed with it.
Are you going to do a video on that? Because I need to learn that.
We are going to do a video on math.
I love it.
People
On
have
math.
tried to teach me that. So I was like, we were in something and I was like locked in for top 8 for a set champs. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, they're like, oh no, you're locked in. I was like, I don't know what that means. Are you trying to trick me?
Right.
I don't know about
It feels
this.
like that. I remember. So at my last tournament in Texas before I moved, it was the Investabilia Classic or whatever it's called that Wilton's Collectibles put on. And I was there and some of our teammates were there with me. And that was, it was a lot of fun. I played both Remy and Steven. And I was like, how are we doing this when there are 45 plus people here? But I got asked to ID in round 4 or 5. It was the second to last round. And I was undefeated. I was the top seed. So like it was fine. But I was worried because I was like, I'm not doing the math. Like I didn't do the math at this point. And I mean, it changed after this moment for me. But up until then, I'd rely on other people because they're doing the math. And honestly, I have a bunch of advanced degrees, but none of them are in math. And so I was like, well, I think I'm okay with that. And the 4 of us that were in that position were like, well, we're going to ID the next 2 rounds and be in. And I was like, okay, cool. If everybody's down to do that, let's do it. So I ID'd with my opponent. He super nice. Come the next round, and I had talked to Remy and Steven about it. And Remy was like, I'm going to be honest. If I were you, I would have played it. One, because you're hot and you're doing so well on the day. And I was like, bet. Okay, that makes sense because I have a hot streak going. I should do that thing. But the other component is your opponent can always not ID, even though they said they would. And I'm a take people at face value. So if they tell me something, I'm going to believe them. And one person in this group, this individual, trust me, it gets better. This individual, we got paired and I was like, cool, we're going to ID. And he goes, no, I don't want to ID. I want to play. And I was like, knowing that the person who loses now because of this field could get knocked out of top 8. When you were sitting here trying to convince us we should all like, okay.
Yeah, that feels shady.
So we played because, you ask for the ID, they say no, you move on. Yeah. I felt very undercut and I knew he was doing it in part because I wasn't a dude. And that felt in some type of way. I lost. I lost in 3 games. I was really worried because I'd been hot all day. This is the only match I've lost. But it feels grody because they lied to me.
Yeah.
I was talking with Remy and Steven about it and they were like, so you're either going to be 8th or 9th. And I was like, I mean, all we can do is wait. I think I learned a really important lesson here, which is I need to do the math for myself. And then I started doing it. In top 8, that's who I hit because we played for seed and that's how it worked out. And I beat him. And he was so proud of himself for having to hit me again because it was a bad matchup for me. And then I beat him in 2. And I felt so validated. I was like, we don't do that. I then go on to my final game, but that's not the point. So
that's okay. No.
You won the one that matters.
We celebrate the victory that matters. And in that moment, you beat the guy that was a jerk to you. So and
in that moment, I learned that some people know how to play the math game. And if I don't know the math game or know it well enough to say, no, actually, I don't want to do this. I want to play. Then I end up in this binary position, which unfortunately in all TCGs, this happens where people are like, IDing is good or IDing is bad. And that's not really the issue. The issue is access. Because for some people, doing the math with them it is a stressor. It induces anxiety, and that's very valid. Numbers bring me comfort because I can see the variability. So at least on our team in the PNW, we very much we're all on the Incredibles for the viewers who do not know. But the PNW side, whenever we go to a tournament, we have certain people who are our math people. And those are the people
Remy is our math person.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I have a question about like, should I ID, should I not ID? If he's not there, I'm like sending something in our Discord being like, these are the numbers. Help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will definitely do once we get through each set, we will start doing things like that, and math will for sure be one of them. That
I love that. I think that's awesome, and I'm excited to direct people to those resources because I think it'll be awesome to have that like one spot for all the resources. And with
at the end of the day,
sorry.
No, sorry. At the end of the day, this is a new TCG. And I think underneath all of it, we want new players. We want this to keep bringing in new people. And the best way to do that is to take down the barriers.
Yeah. And play Mario Kart together as a community, which I got
as soon as I can find my Switch. I keep missing the restocks by like 2 people.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And then next time Artifacts does a stream, you'll be there with me, and it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time.
Yes.
Do you have? So I don't have the new Switch. So
would we like to see it?
I mean, do you love it? Because I haven't heard great things.
So I think that the gaming community is a volatile community.
Really?
First and foremost,
you think
community is a volatile community. When the Switch 2 was announced, people were already, blah, 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 PC's better, da, da, da. Cool, awesome, PC's better. I don't disagree with you. This is a different thing. And people are like, well, why don't you just get a Steam Deck? And it's like, because you know what I can play on my lovely Nintendo Switch? Lovely Nintendo games. Mm-hmm. And I have a PS5. At some point when I don't live in a 1-bedroom apartment, I will have a PC. But I love it. The build quality is significantly better. What I think Nintendo gets a bad rep for is that people expect for Nintendo to always create this new innovation marvel of the community, right? Like the Switch was a marvel. If you even look back, so I'm a little bit of a video game nerd. If you even look back to like the NES, right? And how we progress through the NES to now, there is so much innovation, right? The fact that they blended their two console lines of their handheld console and their home console together, and it was successful, right? That is something that no other gaming company is doing. And yeah, Xbox is trying to make their version of a Steam Deck. Cool, good for them. Like PlayStation has the Portal. I own that as well, and it is a great experience. But the Switch is just something different. Mm-hmm. And I think that there is actually a lot of innovation on the Switch too. Do I think that there could definitely be issues with things like stick drift and whatever? Yeah, but I think that's pretty normal, right? Like the Xbox had the Ring of Death and everybody got it, and you were like, wow, I love that I spent so much money on this. But truth be told, like we're still getting a 4K console that also you can play your games seamlessly with no disruption in handheld mode. And also they've added mouse controls, which work flawlessly. Like they've done so much. Now, this sounds like I'm a Nintendo plug. They do not pay me. God, I wish they would notice me. No, I genuinely think it's a great product. I also understand people who are like, yeah, $450 for this console is a bit much right now because the world's on fire. And I don't disagree. I also think it's important to note that we are a 2-person and 2-dog household. And we have 4 Switches. So everybody in the house
We're not even talking about how many switches there are at my
You
house.
really, really love your Switch, and that's fair. We're also a two-member household with 2 dogs. We don't quite have 4. We have 2. My husband and I both have one, but I haven't taken the leap to go to the Switch 2 yet because I do have a PC, and I also have been playing a lot of Lorcana, and I like shiny cards. So
Yeah. I mean, so here's my thing. If you have the original Switch, upgrading is necessary. I think that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. If you have the OLED, which I have too, it is not as much of an, like, you're not going to be like, oh wow, this is amazing. You are going to still be like, oh wow, this is fantastic. Like, I was playing on my OLED. Now my partner plays with my OLED. Well, it's not mine anymore. It's hers. That's not we're working on it. But like, I think really it is what you want out of it. And for me, like the new Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World is beautiful. It also is a lot of fun to play with other people.
you can't play that one on the old one, can you?
No, you cannot. But they are doing some really cool things with Donkey Kong Bonanza that comes out in mid-July. They just had their direct today. And I wasn't sold on this game until this direct. And I was like, oh, actually, this is going to be very good. And they're talking about backwards compatibility. So you can have somebody with a Switch 2 game share with you to the Switch 1. And
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
It's not going to be all games because they don't make money like that. But the fact that that is an option, or even that they might do some like print, like, it's so nice to be able to play all of my Switch games on my existing console, and now also I can potentially play with my partner who doesn't have a Switch 2 at this moment in time. So I think it's good. I think it's just about like what you're wanting. The Joy-Cons are significantly better.
I feel like it's going to be like Christmas time.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll be able to wait that long, but
I can help it.
No, I'm happy.
Not my virtue.
I have Cult of the Lamb on my Switch right now.
Oh, what a good game! I love that
and
game.
I'm as happy as a clam with that. I have it on my PC, and that it's one of my favorite games.
That's so fair.
So I'm okay at the moment, but I know that Mario Kart and Mario Party are going to draw me towards that because my family loves to play that.
The Zeldas look so good. Like the Switch.
I'm in the middle of Zelda right now, and we were talking about it the other day. You definitely had me considering.
They look so good. Like I played it on the Switch 2, the Switch 1 version, before I got the upgrade pack. Night and day. Like it is just beautiful. Yeah.
So you don't have to buy a whole new game, you just buy an upgrade?
Yeah, it's like a $10 upgrade. And if you pay for if you pay for the most expensive like Nintendo Switch Online, which apparently I do not, I pay for a family plan. But you can get a more expensive family plan. So I found out, I haven't done it yet, but I am contemplating. You get the upgrade for free.
Oh, nice.
So
you can do like 4 or 5 people, so maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah. Definitely an option for us. But that's my Nintendo Switch plug. I definitely recommend this.
Need a Lorcana client for Switch.
Wouldn't it be so good if we could play a Lorcana client on the Switch with mouse controls?
That would be nice.
Dragon Burger, are you listening?
Well, I'll take that. Anything. I'd love that.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think since we've made it all the way to Switch content, that probably means we've gotten through the evening.
Yeah. We have one more.
Oh, we have packs.
Open
packs. Open
my winnings at the PPG thing. Yes. I've been dying.
Yes.
Let's see.
Sorry. We've had you wait since Saturday to open packs. Which
oh wow!
For everyone. Okay, yeah, I was like, Cece, you understand, but for everyone else,
I can't wait this long.
Do not be fooled. This is my husband. He knows this is a Lorcana.
All right.
And
bait and switched.
I feel like I need to move my camera closer. Desperate plan. Bolt. Sword of Truth. I moved my camera closer.
Yeah, show us the pretty cards.
My pretties.
Oh, hey, Bri.
Hey.
As it freezes on your face.
Hello.
The internet is loving us tonight.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Cece,
Bri-
we need to get hoodies. Bri, we're not looking at the cards.
Yeah,
Thing.
hold on.
I
You
fixed it.
muted yourself on accident.
Okay.
Aha,
Woohoo.
fixed it. I did it. All right. Cards.
Okay.
Rip.
Alyx, we can chat about the hoodies. I
Yeah,
made the hoodies, so
Right.
we can chat.
All right.
yeah, because I think
Definitely.
we need hoodies. I mean, I think we need hoodies. I don't know if Cece wants a hoodie. I love a hoodie.
We need
Obviously.
everything.
Um,
I love swag.
All right.
Okay,
What
We
the
got
plane? Stitch.
Stitch.
Ooh, yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Nice.
pretty.
Nice spikes. All
The Elsa
right.
cards are so pretty. The frozen cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm skipping over all commons and uncommons. Sorry, the set's been out long enough. If you want to know what they look like,
Talk
pull it
about
up on the app.
the-
Oh, I'm so
Okay.
jelly.
So that's the enchanted I pulled on my birthday.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my sweet face
It's
for sure.
gorgeous. Like,
All right.
Oh wait, let's see what you
Hey,
get.
Lena doing?
revealed.
Yay!
Notably, Lena Sabrewing. Some might say
Saber
it's
wing.
Nine.
but I say Sabrewing.
I know if I can look down.
Great.
If
We love
will
that.
help. With the glare. There we go.
Because you're brewing a good deck with her.
Exactly. It's magical.
And
Wreck-It Ralph. Ooh.
Cusco.
The other
won 12
enchanted
packs,
I
guys, so it's
pulled
gonna be nice.
was
Oh, nice.
this one, and underrated, very underrated. Like
Yeah.
seeing this in person, it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
pulled the It Means No Worries. And I'm
Nice.
so thrilled about it because I know, first of all, we're probably not shocked, but my top two enchanteds for the set were Stitch and Leela.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then my third one was It Means No Worries because I love Lion King.
Ooh.
Yeah, those are the two that I have pulled this set.
My chaos
I have
pile
pulled
of cards.
two
in the
swords. Two swords.
No,
and lady though. I also pulled lady.
Ooh.
chair. I got Lady in my get well box out of the hospital box. Once I got
Nice.
discharged, my husband got me a box to feel better. And we
Yay,
opened up
we love
the
that.
Lady in that one.
nice. Cece, you know why you got the duplicate, right?
Yeah, so you could get one.
Oh, sure. Also that, but I wasn't thinking about me in the moment. I was thinking about how we were talking about last set. You pulled in a crazy number of enchanteds and
Oh
you
my
didn't have any
gosh.
duplicates.
See,
Ridiculous. I pulled like 8 last set.
and see, I had the duplicate problem last set, like so bad. I pulled 3 tramps. I pulled like everything I pulled last set was a duplicate, which was great on our team because we have
Sure.
lots of collectors on our team.
Sure.
So I was sharing the wealth.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right, we got 5 more packs. Sorry,
All right.
I won quite a
I-
few.
I'll be sorry. This is great.
I got half
Yeah.
a box for winning second place.
I would love to help you open them. Unfortunately,
We haven't figured out the greeting cards across the country.
yeah, we need to watch.
Figure that out. We'll be unstoppable.
All right, starting off good with the tramp.
Ooh,
Hey,
no
yo.
worry. I love her so much. She's so
That's
good.
that's good.
So good.
All right, that
like-
can go in the not chaos pile.
It's like it's just so good to check your card every turn.
Literally throwing all my cards.
I've been
into-
playing that in my Steel Song deck, and it
same.
is it's
Same.
doing good.
Beautiful.
It's
Beautiful.
doing business. And after that second or third whole new world, when I've got 20 some cards in my discard, they're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, she is a 21.
Right.
Double super rare pack.
Yay. Ooh.
Is it doing the blur thingy again?
a little bit.
I
You're
don't know how
also, I don't know, my internet's been funky all night. So you're going in and out a little bit where it's like pausing. Which makes no sense
see if that
because
helps.
we all have full bars right now.
my like background blur thing was on. I don't know why it turns on every time I open it up, but it does. All right.
Medusa.
Ooh, the Aladdin.
I love the Aladdin and Jasmine art this set. It's pretty cool.
So do I. Jasmine.
Ooh,
double
double.
Nice.
All right.
I've been trying to.
I need Courtney's luck.
You need my luck.
Everyone needs Courtney's luck.
Yeah.
I haven't. Oh, man, I felt bad last week. We had a starter deck event that got delayed. It got delayed to last week because our normal store didn't get their product on time.
Beyond is a good pull.
Beyond is great.
Yeah, that's a good pull. And
This looks pretty great too. I think
Another legendary.
Yay.
woohoo!
You were saying
there was a young girl that came to play with her uncle, which I think is like that's another fun thing about Lorcana. Like I love that Disney just like attracts everybody. So it was just fun, and she was very good. I think she was 12 or 13, and that might have been generous. She was probably a little younger than that. I went 3-0, and she went 2-1. I was her only loss, and so we went and we were opening our prize packs, and she opened the Enchanted, and I had to school my teachers and be like, "This is a child. It is good that she pulled the Enchanted, even though you're dirty and wanted it for yourself."
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's it. That's all I got.
You had so many double super rare packs.
Yeah.
I did.
That's good.
2 legendaries, and I won them, so at least I didn't have to pay money for them.
Yeah, you did. That Namari's expensive.
Couple Perditas, you know, people want those for some nonsense decks.
It's not nonsense. Puppies are not nonsense. Rude. You take your Flint, whoever, and go somewhere with your nonsense. My nonsense is not nonsense. It's going to be real.
He's offended.
Yes.
Really. I'm going to show my chaos file for the crowd just so y'all can see how I was opening up this. 0
Oh my God.
I was literally yeeting him into the chair.
This is the difference. I just was breaking down some decks I had built.
Right.
Yep.
Takes all types. There's a place in Lorcana for everyone.
There is, and we love everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for inviting us to be on your show.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for being here while I open my packs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Do you want to remind everyone where they can follow y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. I mean,
We're at Rotten to the Lore on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Twitch, and YouTube. All of our content gets uploaded if it's short form on one of the short form sites, and then YouTube is our long show. We generally do a show every other week, not end. Don't know. Usually Thursdays is when we're shooting for, but yeah, I don't think I left any of the specials out.
you can also follow each of us individually. We share a lot of Lorcana stuff on our individual stuff. Alex is going to be Alex the Queer on all of those sites, and I will be Aggro Baby on all of those sites.
And we are obviously always here Wednesday nights, so we appreciate everybody who joined on Wednesday and those that joined through the raid tonight from Wonderland. Always love a good raid from you guys. Appreciate it. And we hope everyone has a good rest of their week. Bye, y'all.
Bye.